Thank you. What's going on as our room fills up? Thank you guys so much for joining us for Making the Case. Of course, I am your host, the one and only Anthony Denmark, founder of Becoming JD, where our mission, our goal, our belief is that literally anybody and everybody out there can go to law school. Period. Point blank. Period. I'm a little bit out of breath, but nevertheless, we here, y'all. As our room fills up, I'm seeing our tribe slowly starting to come into the room. What's going on, Miss K Prominence? What's going on, Alex? What's going on, Mon Liv? What's going on, Rashida? What's going on, Sammy? And so as our room fills up, I want you guys to always let me know where it is that you're viewing our session from. And also, one of the things I want you to do is to be encouraged. I know right now that a lot of people are either going through high highs, oh man, we getting accepted, or low lows. Either one, we didn't get the LSAT score that we wanted, or either two, we playing a damn waiting game. We're trying to figure out what the heck do I do next. I want you guys to be able to realize that that process that you're going through is something that it's a rites of passage on this journey. But do not be discouraged. Continue to stay motivated. Man, I have so many acceptances in my text messages that I got to put out for you guys to celebrate them bagging the acceptances. And also, I want you guys to understand the importance of being active. I don't want you guys to be complacent. I don't want you guys to sit by waiting for the acceptance. Man, you know, in the Bible, it says, this verse, it says, faith without works is dead. You guys to put in the work already. Now it's time to continue to put in the work. The work doesn't end after you click submit. And man, the work don't even really end after you get accepted. That's when the work really begins. And so I'm really excited to be able to have our guest here today. What's going on, Alex? What's going on, Mubasar? And let's see here who we got here today. And so as our room fills up, I want you guys to let us know where we're viewing our session from. I'm really excited about the next guest that we had. You guys, we have really been blessed to have an amazing lineup of guests. And we got guests going all the way up to April. And I'm really excited about that. They want to share their stories, share their experiences, to motivate and encourage you guys on your journey. So if, in fact, you may have missed an episode of Making the Case, say less, you can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. I think we up to like 215 subscribers. And also, of course, literally after the live happens, I post the live in the Instagram. So you can also watch it there. And so I want you guys to be encouraged. We got Philly in the house. Of course, we got Missouri in the house right here. St. Louis holding it down. We got DC in the house. That's what's up. Who else we got out there? K Prominence. I know you out there in Florida doing your dang thing. And so as our room fills up, I'm excited about this next guest that we have. She has a great spirit, a great story, and she is really excited about the opportunity to not only share her story, but also to be able to motivate you guys. Because, man, hey, listen, ain't nobody immune from the hardships, fam. Ain't nobody immune from the hardships. But all that really is, you guys, is a sign for us to be able to elevate and grow. The challenges are really put in place to see, is this something that you want? Is this something that you're willing to fight for? Is this something that you're willing to understand that you're going to have to step out your comfort zone? Everybody else has bagged the acceptances. Everybody that's passed the bar, they've had to take those huge leaps out of their comfort zone. And I want to make sure and encourage you guys to go ahead and take those leaps and let you know, man, there's great results along the way. All the guests that we have literally comes down to me shooting my shot and asking them, hey, I saw your story and I want you to come on Making the Case. And so let's shoot our shot. It's provided opportunities for you guys to get wonderful stories that you guys can identify with. And it also can provide opportunities for you to be able to open up pathways to be able to network with lawyers, network with judges, and also network with law schools, because we've had the fortunes of having law schools participate as well. So I'm sure, let's go ahead and roll with it. And one of the things I want you guys to do, I make a pledge, I make a promise, fam, that I want you guys to fill my chat box up in questions. Because listen, fam, this is not something where I just sit here and talk and you just listen. Whatever question that you got in your mind right now, something that you are itching to be able to get an answer to, put it in the chat box, and I promise you that we're going to answer it, because I want you guys to come away from this session fed, knowing that you got a clear path and a clear message in regards to what you need to do tomorrow and the next day moving forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this wonderful guest on, attorney Sonya Williams. And let's see if there won't be a delay. And there always is a delay. But technology, we love you. What's going on, Attorney Sonya? What's good, sis?
Hey, can you hear me pretty good?
I hear you perfectly. I hear you perfectly.
Yay. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Now, listen, man. One of the things that I love is an opportunity for people to share their stories and their experiences. You know, oftentimes you've heard this phrase before, sis. Well, you know what, man? Because I retook the LSAT so many times.
Oh,
Because
man.
I got rejected so many
Yeah.
times. Or because I had to retake the bar. Maybe that's a sign from God that I'm supposed to be doing something else.
Mm-mm.
And of course, we know the devil is a lie.
Sure.
God is working to build pathways that the devil is also working to try to get you to become discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to make the choice of which one that we're going to do. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the fam, and I'm just going to start asking some questions.
Okay. Hey, awesome. So first off, I'm gonna say, because you already started preaching, so I'm just gonna jump on that. Commit your plans to the Lord, right? Commit your plans to the Lord. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He shall establish your plans. So, like, turn it all over to Him. Okay, now that I've got that out of the way, because I heard you and you got me riled up. So my name is Sonya Williams. I am from a small town in Florida called Perry. Really small town. In fact, growing up, I never met a Black female attorney. Like, that wasn't a thing I'd ever seen. In fact, when I thought that I wanted to be a lawyer when I was little, it was like out of the question because I had zero idea how to even do it. It just seemed so far-fetched. I had heard that, oh, you got to have a lot of money and you got to, and I just like, well, oh, well, I'll just try something else, you know? Went to college for a little bit. That didn't work out. Then I joined the Navy. I served in the Navy for like 8 years. And while I was in the Navy, I had an opportunity to work in a legal office. And when I got to the legal office, I was like, I'm pretty good at this. And so I requested an internship with this office in Norfolk, Virginia called REALSO. It's the Regional Legal Services Office, and it's like the largest legal office in the Navy, and it's right here in Norfolk. So I requested to go there. I got there, and about 2 weeks into my internship, I noticed like I'm getting into a flow. This is hard, but I think I can do this. And then I started messing up. Like, started messing up. And my supervising attorney at the time, she told me like, you know, don't give up, like just try again. I need you to go back, work on this. You got the basics down, but you know, you just got to work on this. So fast forward a year, I heard something that I wrote presented in a massive argument, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. So then I told everybody at the office I wanted to do it, and they all said, let's tell me, how can I help? How can I write you a letter? Like, shoot your shot. And so I applied for a program in the Navy to go what's called Legalman, which is like, it's like a program for official paralegals. Now, at this point, I already had my AA. I was already a paralegal. I was doing the work, but I wanted to transfer to the program with the intentions of becoming a part of the program called Legalman to JAG, where they send the legalmen to law school for free. So I applied and I was tentatively accepted. They wanted me to re-enlist for at least 4 years before they granted me a acceptance. And I prayed about this before I even got that. That felt like a denial to me because it was not a yes, right? So I prayed about it, and I had already applied to ODU to finish my bachelor's. And literally the morning I got that message, that night I got the email that I got accepted to ODU. And I knew that was God telling me, it's time to get out of the Navy. You can do this. You don't need their help. I'm going to take you there. And I got out. And I remember when I was starting to get out, like I was getting my paperwork signed, different places, you know, the checkout process. I remember this one, AO1. He was my E6. He was my supervisor. He read my paper and he said, "You law school?" And he made this like
Hold
really
on.
comment, right? And I was just like, yep, I'm going to do it. And I got out, and I'll be honest with you, many times when I came close to the edge of pain and like hurting or loss, I always heard him. Like, I would hear him. I would hear his voice telling me like, you a lawyer? Like, Like, I would hear that all the time. And then I started reading Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. And in the book, she brings up how so often we forget about the people that speak life into us. Like, my mom has always told me I'm capable of anything. Like, my friends, when I tell you I have the hardest going praying family friends, like, that's what we call them, they're family, right? Like, these people have always believed in me and they've never doubted me. If I said I want to do something, they've always been on my side. So, like, in tough times, we should focus on those words, not, the enemy, and reading that helped me shift my mentality. And then I started like,
I asked you to repeat
yeah.
something because you over here dropping sermons. Y'all miss Bible study? Yo, we doing Bible study and making the case today.
Yeah, we do Bible study now. Wednesday nights, everybody 9:00 prompt. Right. We're gonna start with him.
But that one part that you said that I thought was beautiful, because literally Alexandra that said she needed this, is that part about, kind of selecting who you choose to hear and who you choose to ignore.
Yeah, it's difficult too, because when you're already feeling bad, like I suffer from depression, and sometimes when you're already in that space and then something bad happens, you only focus on negative. You can't even see the good. You can't even see all the great the things you should be grateful for. You only see the bad. But when we really just take a step back and really look at like how life has evolved, and it all led you to this exact moment. Like, every loss led you here. Like, every win led you here. Like, you needed all of that to be here right now, to be in this place. So realistically, it's okay to lose. And I think I needed law school to teach me that. Like, in law school, man, we could get into some losses. Like, I only posted on Facebook or Instagram when I won, but there was a lot of crying. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of pain, like, to get to the place of winning. And I just think about sometimes how the enemy's voice, like what I heard him say, that guy say when I was checking out, like, sometimes it was kind of motivating too. It was like, oh, I can't wait to prove him wrong. And you know what's crazy? 2 weeks after I passed the bar exam, guess who was in my inbox asking for legal advice with his divorce? Sorry, sir, I am not a divorce attorney. I cannot help you. And if I could, the retainer would be insane. So let's not even, no. And let's not do it. No, thank you. But yeah.
And so for you guys who are just joining us, we are with attorney Sonya Williams, superwoman over here, rocking the cape, the works, and everything, ministering to us on the side, y'all. I literally posted in that message you said, sis, I was like, ooh, you said every loss led you here.
Yeah.
I want you guys, what that means is every retake, every rejection led you here. Like, sis, I had a client who reached out to me, and what I call pre-law advisors sometimes are gatekeepers. Sometimes they could be blessings, and a lot of times they could be curses.
Agreed.
Like, well, maybe you should wait another year. And I was just like, that's one person's opinion. There are 197 law schools. How many do we need, sis, to take the next step in this journey?
Only need one.
Only need one.
That's it.
Only need one. And so one of the things that I want to add to the mix here is because, one of the things that's amazing about your story is it comes from so many different layers.
Yeah.
We have a lot of amazing parents out there who have literally thought, well, you know what, man, to go to law school, you can't have kids, or I got to wait till my kids go to school. We kind of create barriers. And so I think what's important, if it's possible, I want you to explore and share with me like that process where you could just like, okay, I'm a mom, but I want to go to law school. How was that process like? Because there's a lot of moms and dads out there who have the dream. And, we're initially saying, well, I can't be like this ideal framework, that they get discouraged. And so how did you go about that process? Because I think there's something out here that a lot of people want to be able to learn how to do themselves.
Yeah, that is a good question. And I will say, just to tack on something that you said, you talked about the pre-law advisors. sometimes being the enemy as
Yeah.
well. And that is in itself a whole conversation, because I remember I went to my pre-law advisor at ODU and I showed them like my stats and this is what I want to do. And they were just like, I don't think I don't think you should go to law school. Like, I think you should consider something else. Like, you have all of this background with the military, and like, they try to change my mind. Like, I came to you already knowing what I wanted. Like, I didn't come here to get my mind changed. So anyway, okay. So back to what you were saying initially. Um, So for me, studying for the LSAT, if we start there, choosing to study. So I was in school full time and I was studying because I had plans to start in a certain season. I knew I needed to start then, so I had to grind it out. And I think that was probably one of the darkest times for me, because my husband at the time, well, my husband at this time, he had to do all the work really. And I don't think that it's impossible, because I had a friend that I studied with, and she studied at home with her child, like while I was studying at the school. And sometimes we just go on the computer and like log on together, not even talking, but just looking at each other, being with each other, even though I'm here and she's there. And it helped her get in the groove, because she had her kids running around. She had like 3 kids, I believe, and they were all under the age of 10. So she was very busy, but I was lucky in that perspective. And I think, in a sense, when we think fast forward to law school, I started law school during COVID. Like, we were home. Like, there was no childcare, there was no school. At the time he was 5 years old, and he was home with me. He was just starting kindergarten, I believe. And I was home trying to do law school with him at home trying to do kindergarten. So, when you log off of class, you're like teaching one plus one, one plus one, like, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot on a person's spirit to be able to have to do everything, but you find a way. Like, for me, it was looking at my child and
Right.
saying, "Oh, I'm gonna make it for you, if nothing else." Like, um, but in that instance, I feel like I needed help as well, and help was very limited. But I will acknowledge, my first semester, I did have the support of one of my nieces. She was able to move in with me and help out. And looking back, I don't think that I would have done as well as I did without her there. I'm not going to say I wouldn't have made it, because I'm going to make it regardless. I'm going to find a way. If there's a way, I'm going to figure it out. But, having her there with me, I do think it made a lot of the difference. So
We got Fella Bell up in the chat throwing questions. She's like, hold on, she's trying to do it with a 1-year-old right now.
yeah,
Like, well, how was your study plan? What did that look like?
for LSAT
For
or
LSAT,
for law school?
for LSAT,
Okay, so
let's do both, because we know we got them both out here.
okay, so yeah, shout out to the parents. Let's go ahead and throw that out there, because that's a whole battle. And a lot of people in law school have zero idea how difficult it is. Like, when they have the little study parties and, your little bar nights, like, it's difficult. It is hard. Like, I'm balancing a whole extra life over here, and I really want to go. So I just started planning my own around my schedule, and people came. So try that. You can still have your experiences, just, create your own. But anyway, yeah. So for LSAT, my study plan was, I made sure I took most of my classes early in the day. And I traditionally don't like getting up too early, but I knew that I needed that time. So during that time, my son was in like a before care. I would drop him off at 8. I started classes by like 9. And then I was in class till like maybe 1 or 2. And then the rest of the day until like 10 o'clock, I was studying. I stayed at that school. I found a little hole. I call it a hole, but it was literally just the office that nobody used and nobody ever checked on it. So I used that room the whole time. And I just was like bunkered down in this room, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, like just coffee literally around the clock, like wired. But that was how I stayed in the groove. And then I also scheduled my classes on, I think I had them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I had Monday, Wednesday, Friday open, and I could just do as much as I needed on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then when I needed to sleep, I would also be able to take a nap. Like I made sure to like listen to my body as well. Like, hey, if I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap because I do better when I'm rested. So it took a lot of scheduling things, but it all worked out for the LSAT that way. Law school. Law school was very different. Law school, I think my first semester, I was studying like anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day. Like I was barely sleeping. And that's not the class work. That's me struggling to, I mean, I think some nights I slept maybe 2 hours a night, maybe maybe longer, but I don't remember many days the first semester. After that first semester, I realized things got to change because this isn't
Right.
sustainable. So I changed it up and I started forcing myself to take breaks. And I study intentionally. Like if I knew I had like if I only have 2 hours, I set a goal when I start that 2 hours. Like, hey, I'm going to get these rules down today before class tomorrow. For sure, I'm going to get these rules down. And for that 2 hours, I would read those cases. And I'm a slow reader. Like I read a little slower than most people. Like one of my colleagues in law school, she would just be flipping pages. And I'm like, you are so annoying. Like I'm still on the first page.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We both made it. So it's okay to be a little different, you know. But for me, I had to set aside intentional time. Like I had to set goals every time I studied because if I didn't and I just went into it winging it, like, oh, I got a lot to read, I'll just start reading and see where it happens. No, like you won't get to the goal, like, or you may come close, but now you got extra pages to read later, or you that time will bleed into the next section, and then next thing you know, you're not able to complete that section what you intended, and it just keeps rolling. And that practice can come into play when you start studying for the bar too, because you have to set these time limits, and that's what helped me. Intentional time limits, like goals for those time frames. Um, yeah.
And Micah, I want you to check this out. I love to call people out when they join the chat so they can make sure they tune in. So it's all love. I want you guys to understand really what this whole law school journey about and the passing the bar is really about you learning yourself. It's
Yeah.
about having one of the things that was amazing what Sonya touched on, and I want you guys to be able to understand so you can be able to pull from it, is you have to know what works best for you. You have, for most people, you have about 20 years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, to be able to find out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Law school is not one size fits all, and you are one of one. So because you are one of one, you have to figure out how you prepare. I know how you talked about the level. You have to be intentional with this process. And I want you guys to understand that also goes towards the LSAT as well, and in law school, and like Sonya said, and towards the bar, and after practice. It's
Right.
all about you learning how you operate. If I know that I'm going to read slow, I got to set around time to make sure that I get my materials done. And also, one of the things is being able to understand, man, on this journey, man, the lawyer journey is selfish.
Yep.
It's as a mother.
Yep.
You don't have to make some sacrifices. There's some things that you're just not going to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to say, am I making a down payment to be able to possibly be able to do it later? And I'll never forget this. It was this one story. I remember this one young lady who I used to, when I was in law school the first time, sis was in a library every day. I was like, we used to go to the gym in the summer times. And when school started, she stopped the gym. And she was just grinding and grinding. I was like, come on, man, you got to take a break. She made bar review. She graduated top 3% of her class. So I'm over here with this cut rib body, and she's over here putting the priorities in place of what's important. You have to be able to understand why you're there, and also realize is that it's all about you accepting that, hey, this is something that I chose. Sometimes we forget, I chose to struggle. I chose to go through this.
Right.
I begged law, please let me in, just so I could be in this situation. And so one of the other things I definitely want to be able to talk to you about is, a lot of people at times kind of get hung up on the type of law that they want to practice
Mm-hmm.
far too early. I really think you really don't know what type of law you're going to practice until maybe your second or third year of law school.
Yeah.
But what was it about you being into your background, being a veteran? What was it that drew you to wanting to be a veteran's attorney?
So one thing I want to mention, you mentioned just a second ago about how like the investment piece, about everything you do is an investment. So during bar prep, one of my close friends, she wrote on a note card for me. She said, every minute that you spend studying is an investment into yourself and your future. Don't worry about everybody else. We'll be waiting for you. And that changed the game for me. Like they'll be waiting for me. It's going to be okay. They'll be okay. Like, this is an investment in me. And you're right. You do have to be selfish. Like, you have to in that instance, because like nobody else is going to prioritize you passing the bar, or you passing the exam, or you passing the LSAT at the score you want. Like, nobody's going to do that for you. You have to do that for you. So, yeah. But so for veterans law, right? So everybody hears these sappy stories about the VA and how the vets are mistreated. And everybody knows somebody that has experienced that, right? Or does not get the care that they need, right? So those kinds of stories kind of haunted me for a while. In fact, some of my family are like that. I've met countless vets. In fact, there's this one vet that lives near my school. It's a homeless vet. His name's Jeff. And I always go by and just say hello to Jeff, and we have little conversations and stuff. And I told him one day I was thinking about veterans law, and he was like, I'm not gonna say the words, he cussed, but he was like, go get him, like, basically. But he always carried so much aggression towards the VA, towards his service. Like, he felt abandoned. And that's a common story. So anyway, in law school, I knew coming into law school I wanted to do something military, family related, or veteran related, but I still allowed myself to explore. Like, I allowed that. Like, so one of the clinics, so my school is really big on clinical work. We have,
Out on the school,
yeah,
go ahead and get
law, David A. Clark School of Law, HBCU, like all day. But yeah, so our school is really big on clinical work, and we have, like, literally we were rated number 5 in the nation, tied with Yale. Like, that's not by chance. Like, our clinics are boss. Like, so one way to get more experience is just to sign up for more clinics. And I arranged it so that I could take more UDC law in the chat. But I arranged it so that I could take more clinics than what people normally took. So my first clinic was this community development clinic. And in that clinic, they taught us a little bit about transactional matters, transactional work. And I thought, okay, I can do this, right? It went well. I learned an immense amount, and I learned how to be a lawyer in that. But I also learned that I didn't want to do that type of law, if that makes sense. Like, they were two separate things. So the next clinic I took was the whistleblower clinic. And I was curious about whistleblowers, because when we hear about whistleblowers, you hear people always say, oh, they're rats, or, they're manipulating people, or, man, whistleblowers are the bravest people on this entire planet. Like, they are speaking up. And I went to that clinic with the intention of just learning what it was about, what the law is like. Is there money in it? Just curious. And it kind of changed my spirit a little bit. And I realized I could not do whistleblower law, because one of my clients literally called me from a burner phone in a parking garage because the government was hunting him. Like that changed me. Like, it messed with me. And I remember crying for hours, because, like, this is a clinic. This is a free legal clinic, but we're, like, literally handling people's lives. Like, this is real. This is not a test, So it made me want to work harder, because I wanted to get him help. And yeah, it was tough on my spirit, but I knew I didn't want to do whistleblower law. So I moved on to tax. and I was so curious about tax. I thought tax was the coolest thing ever. And I tell you this because a lot of people hear tax and they run because they're like, oh, math, no, scary, or it sounds too complex, you know? But taxes, it's just a lot of codes. Like there's numbers, yes, but most of the stuff the lawyers do isn't the, like, we don't do all the numbers. Like, we have people to help us with that. We do the law, you know? And then I joined the litigation tax clinic, and it was awesome. I had this clinical director, my supervising attorney. She is literally one of the most brilliant Black women attorneys I've ever met in my life. And I say that because she is like extremely like intelligent. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Mind you, I'm girl geeking the whole time because I'm like, this is so phenomenal. Like, cause so you know, I grew up in a small town. So like normally women try to make themselves, you know, appear to be, what do you call it? Less than intelligent. They want to be appealing, but no, she's like a boss and she's killing it. And the way she just talked about it, it just made it so intriguing. And I was like, I have to learn more. So I joined the tax clinic and I learned an immense amount. I mean, but I also knew that tax wasn't it for me either. Because right, tax is fun. It's fun, right? And it's so interesting and it will never stop. But that's not where I felt passionate, if you hear me. Like, you got to figure out what fuels you. And once you figure out what fuels you, it makes whatever you have to do in life a little bit easier because you feel fulfilled when you go to sleep at night. Like, I know people that signed up for these big time jobs and now, you know, it's not working out the way they intended. And then it's not necessarily the money and it's not the cases, it's the way they feel about themselves. And I like what I do. When I chose veterans law, that I knew that I could help my family. Like, I knew that I could help my friends, my shipmates, like people I serve with. Like, I felt like if I would have been in this place earlier, I could have helped so many that we've lost. Like, and I had all of these feelings and it kind of pushed me to go this route. So before passing the bar, and this is a word too about shooting your shot in unexpected places, right? I posted in a group on Facebook. Now, don't laugh at me, y'all. I had plenty of interviews. I had plenty of, like, I think I had 2 other offers. And I put a picture up graduation in like a group, a Facebook group, and said, hey, just throwing my shot out there. Anybody interested? These are like things I'm interested in, but you know, we'll see where it goes. Within the hour, I had like 30 comments, and people were all in my inbox, all attorneys. They all seen that post. And I started jumping on the phone with people. But there was this one guy I jumped on the phone with who's now my current boss. He just matched my energy, you know, like his enthusiasm for helping vets. And I don't know, his energy was just so positive. And I was just like, this is where you want me to be, Lord. I feel it. Like, I haven't been on this wavelength with anyone else that I've been talking to or any of these interviews. And I just felt like it was the right thing for me. And I prayed about it. And yeah, after passing the bar, swore in, went to the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims and swore in there too. And yeah, so
Wow.
that's how that
There's
happened.
questions I want to ask. This feeling right here. I'll try to go rewind and ask some more questions. How did it feel when you got sworn in after everything that you've been through? All the doubters, all the naysayers, all the challenges and all the sacrifices. Because I mean, that just had to be a priceless moment.
Yeah, it really was. In fact, so which time you talking about? The first time or the second time? I'm joking. the so I swore in. My formal swearing in ceremony was at the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, right? Because they have a separate bar that you have to be accredited with in order to practice in that court. And I thought that was a big deal, so I swore into that court. And but the night before the swearing in, I had this dream, and I strongly believe that God grants everybody at least one gift, right? He gives us gifts. He does. Everybody has a natural gift from God. But I think the gift that he gave me is dreams. I have very vivid dreams. If I'm taking a nap, if I'm daydreaming, if I go to sleep, I dream every single night. And sometimes there's some relevance to the dreams, but sometimes they're just dreams. I'm just rambling and doing stuff, right? So the night before the swearing in, I had a dream. And in the dream, my niece that I had lost August, at the end of August, she was in the dream. My godparents were there that have also passed. My mom and dad, who are still here with us, but they were in Florida and couldn't be with me. Some of my family that were in Florida that couldn't make it. Friends from that I met at ODU and friends that I met at UDC Law that couldn't make it. People I met along the way. In my dream, they were all in that courtroom.
Oh my.
And I felt like I could feel their love and support. And when I woke up, I started crying. I was like, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And we just started singing at the top of me and my son walking around the hotel. This is the day. Like we were just getting it right. So we get to the courtroom, and the way it works at the court, you have to listen in to the actual hearing that they're having. And then after the hearing, they swear you in. So I posted on Facebook, anybody want to watch? You can. I'm waiting. I did not know that as many people as showed up for me was going to show up for me at my swearing in. Like I threw it out to the people, but and the ones that couldn't make it logged online. And when I went back and reviewed all the things they said and put in my box, I've like some of these people were in my dream. Like it was not by chance that I seen a person that I hadn't talked to in forever, and I seen them in my dream, and I haven't talked to them, and then they show up in my inbox saying, I watched you, I'm so proud of you, screenshots. It was crazy. But yeah, it was a very surreal moment, especially since my son was there. He was there with me when I studied for the LSAT. He was there when I found out I passed, when I got accepted at law school. He was there with me when I graduated. He was there in most of my law school classes. He made an appearance. He was there when I passed the bar. The moment I found out I passed the bar, he was there. And he was there when I swore in. So it felt like full circle. And I just wanted to make sure he understood the significance of what was happening. And he did. He cried later. He was just like, I'm just proud of you, and that hit me in my heart too, because, you know, it's different for your child to be proud of the mom, of the parent. It's like we always proud of our babies, but for him to say that to me, it just, I don't know, it moved my spirit. So, but yeah, it was, I can't even explain what it was like for me. Second best day to having my son. Wedding is after that day. I love my wedding day.
You in third, but hey, you make the top
Yeah,
three.
top three.
Sis, you are blessing so many people right now. People are right now in the chat saying, wow, oh my goodness, it's amazing. And one of the things I really want to also kind of explore with you is just like, I feel at times, the thing that's a blessing is you said, we kind of got to ignore the noise. And the thing that's amazing is like when you go on this journey, you kind of forget all the people that are praying for you.
Mm.
You kind of forget all the people that are supporting you. And when you really think about it, the haters kind of be like in a small number.
Yep.
I think that was the thing that was so beautiful about it, is that being able to have the support system and being able to have that encouragement. And so one of the things I want you to be able to tell me about is on your journey. They say, Anthony, get out my business. But I'm going to ask anyway.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Let me get my Bible.
Oh, here we go. Because I'm sure that Bible's what helps you get through it. I want you to tell people about like that biggest challenge where even now you look back, or a situation where you was just like, man, God, only by you I'm going to make this happen. Because I think there's a lot of people. And the reason why I asked you guys to share this, and I asked all of you guys to share this when you guys are guests, is because there's somebody else out there right now who's thinking about giving up, who's thinking that, man, I can't do it. I can't figure it out. And I think sometimes when we share our stories, they realize, hold on, Sonya did it. I'm from a small town too. I had a hater in my mix too. And
Yeah.
hearing your stories, I think it just inspires. So I want you to tell me about the biggest challenge that you faced and how you overcame it.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Anthony. I cannot name a single challenge. Like, I feel like my life, the people that know me know when I get hit with things, it's like it happens. Like, it just keeps rolling. Like, it's like, and then I have a time of peace, and then it starts happening again. So, like, I think one of the biggest challenges I had in law school was after the semester that my niece lived with us. We learned that she had to leave and go back. And I want to say at the end of the second semester, I felt like maybe I can't do this right
Right.
now. Like, this isn't the time for it, because she was my only help. They were requiring us to come back to campus. The school wasn't open for my son to go to school yet. So you want me to be back on campus with nowhere to take my child, and I don't have any help in this city. I don't know anybody. I felt incredibly lonely. Like, and so I talked to a professor at my school, and meanwhile, if anybody goes to UDC Law, I will make sure that you never seek the advice of this particular person. I won't say their name, but just let me know you're going, so I'll let you know who to talk to if you need advice about something. But anyway, I went to her and told her, like, hey, I'm at a tough spot. My father was also undergoing chemo, and I felt overwhelmed. Like, I just didn't think I could do it. And I told her, and she said, maybe you should withdraw for a semester, just so you can be with your family. And then at another point, she was like, but even if you don't withdraw, maybe you can at least consider, not doing the clinics and just take 2 classes. It'll take you longer to graduate. And I'm like, but I don't have time for that. Like, I have to graduate when I say I'm going to graduate, because things are aligned in our lives. I can't wait. And I felt more discouraged after I spoke to her. It really hurt my heart to hear that someone else also agreed I needed to back out. And I remember crying about it and praying about it, fasting about it. And then a few days later, I'm gonna say about 3 days later, I sat and talked with my husband, and he was like, do you want to withdraw? I was like, no. He's like, well, don't. Why are you stressing out about this? And I just was like,
Like, what?
right. I wish it was that easy for me to like come to those conclusions. But after that, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'll just find a way. I'll figure it out. And I figured it out. And then boom. But I think the second toughest thing that I went through in law school was losing on something. So it's going to sound crazy. And I learned this recently from a friend that loves me dearly and said this out of love. But she said, when you win big. But when you lose, the losses are normally like much smaller. So like, you don't know how to lose. And I was like, what? Excuse you? Like, what do you mean I don't know how to lose? Like, she was like, you don't know what it's like to lose. Like, and I'm like, I retook the LSAT 3 times. I lost all of my number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 choices of law school. You're gonna tell me I don't know what it means to lose? Like, I've had things happen too, but I started really reflecting on her saying that, and I had competed for this scholarship, and I'll never forget, I made it to like the top 3 people. And we had multiple interviews, and I was just so like, I thought I had it. Like, to go from a pool of like 20 something to only a handful is like, you really feel like you got it, right? And then I had this connection with the interviewers, and I was like, yeah, I definitely have this.
Locked.
And then I found out I didn't, and finding out I didn't isn't the part that broke me. It was finding out who actually got it that broke me, because I thought they were judging us on like scholastics, but it was so much more than that. They were also looking for someone that matched what they could provide, but I didn't know all that at the time. All I knew is that I lost, and who I lost to. I was like, oh, this gonna break me. But After that, I started reading my Bible more because obviously I had been straying because I was spending so much time reading. And I just come back to the reminder that what God has for me is for me. Like that was for them and that's fine, but what's for me is for me. And you know what's even more crazy? A semester later, I won a scholarship worth twice as much as what the one that I lost out on was, that I felt heartbroken by. Like God has something for you. Like it may not be what you think the plan should be, but the plan is perfect the way it is. It sucks sometimes because you don't get what you want, but I want what he wants, and it's way better
Ooh,
than whatever.
powerful.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
so,
But he,
yeah,
that's,
those are the top two for sure.
and so one of the things I want you, because I saw in the comments, someone talked about clinics, and so I want to educate them. So clinics are special programs that are offered at every law school, but every law school may have different types of clinics. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes the clinics are where you get an opportunity to get a taste test of what that type of law is going to be like. And so getting that experience, the value of learning what you don't want to do is just as valuable of learning what you do
Right.
want to do.
Right.
Oftentimes when I tell people, I said, when we go look at law schools, because, U.S. News has came out with their rankings, blah, blah, blah. And we oftentimes look at tiers but that stuff's not important in my eyes. What's important is, what are you going to do when you're there?
Mm-hmm.
And are they going to prepare you to be able to do something once you leave? And so these clinics oftentimes are an invaluable resource that you literally, I saw a thing on U.S. News where it was just like how people, when we applied to law school, let's keep it a buck, sis. When we applied to law school, did we really look at the website to see about the stuff that they offer?
Oh, I did. I
I
did.
did.
I am definitely the research guru. I had binders. You better ask these people about me. I had binders of information on each school. Even when I took the bar, I had binders on binders on binders. When I was like, I'm telling you, I researched heavily. So I knew what I was getting into, but I don't think everybody
Right.
who went to school with me understood what the clinics were about and the weight that they can hold on your life. Like I don't think a lot of people did, because you get to law school and you think, oh, I'll take my classes, graduate, good to go. But my school ain't like that. My school says, hey, when you leave, you're going to be like ready, and they make sure of it, because by the time you're done getting all those hours, you know how to do most of the stuff within the area that you're interested in. Or you at least have a really strong precursor to whatever you're trying to do next. Like, since I wasn't able to take a veterans law clinic because my school didn't offer that, right? I was able to get exposure to how to do certain things. I'm pretty good at researching the law, really good now because of these other things that, were unrelated to what I wanted to do. Now, when I need to find something, it's a little easier for me to do that in veterans law. But I also know people that are interested in like criminal law. Day one, they knew they wanted that. Did a criminal law clinic in courts, presenting, doing the thing, found out, nah, I don't want to be a criminal law attorney. I'm gonna try something else. And you need those types of experiences, I think, to really guide you along the way too.
And literally the way to find out about the type of clinics that they offer is, all you got to do is pull up a law school website and type in the search menu clinic, bloop, 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 there they go. And so the thing I want you guys to be able to understand, I've learned 3 things about Miss Sonya here today, y'all. And I want you guys to understand these lessons and apply them. The importance of being intentional. Intentional with your preparation when it comes to the LSAT. Intentional with your preparation when it comes to trying to find law schools. We can't be passive, man. This law schools cost too dang much for us to just kind of be passive and hope that things work out. And the other thing I learned from her tonight, and I want you guys to understand the value of it, is being fearless. Being fearless and understanding this is something like her husband told her. This is what you want. That's it. In the story.
Period.
Also realizing the value of just putting yourself out there. There used to be a time, and I used to tell people this, think about it, sis. There used to be a time where if you weren't born into lawyers or didn't come from money, that you oftentimes weren't able to get access to those opportunities. But now with the luxury of, social media, we got Instagram, we got, well, I don't know how long we're going to have TikTok, but we also have Facebook. Every law firm in the country, every law school in the country have these accounts. Sonya shot her shot. Only started off with 2 offers,
Yeah.
but just made a post and end up having 30 attorneys trying to holler at her. And understand this, by doing that process, I know it is kind of nerve-wracking because you want to be able to get that immediate feedback. But just think about how just putting yourself out there opened up so many different opportunities for you. And so what was your process when you was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to shoot my shot. Hello, how y'all doing?
Yeah, it was like I'm shooting all the shots, like all of them. Like even if you tell me no, I'm probably gonna shoot it again. Like you're just gonna have to keep telling me no. And that's how I was about applying to law school. That's how I've been. Like that's just how I look at things. And I think that if you really want something, it's okay if you feel like you feel discouraged. Like you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna find your way, but just keep shooting. Just keep shooting. Your yes is gonna come. Like where you're supposed to be, you're going to be. Like nothing is gonna block that. Like nothing is gonna stop you from being where you're supposed to be. And I'm actually, it's gonna sound out there, but I'm really interested in this whole metaphysics thing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we sit and think about, in fact, in therapy, my counselor talked about how, I'm sorry, my therapist, she said, you know, take a second to really acknowledge where undergraduate Sonya, how she would feel right now in this moment. Like, think about how proud she is of you. And then think about like Grandma Sonya looking at you right now in this moment. What would she say to you? And then think about little Sonya running in the yard playing in the mud. Like, what would she say if she found out that you were a lawyer? Like, think about all of the people that you are, you will be, that you've been, and let that fuel you too. So don't give up, y'all. If you need a little extra encouragement, Becoming JD, that's the page. I looked at it during the LSAT. I looked at it during bar prep. I'm like, I may be a lawyer, I'm still trying to get this money. I'm trying to pass. Like, and I remember looking at your page, like, and I'm really grateful for the content that you post as well, because I think a lot of times for non-traditional students, especially, we see these stories all over Instagram, and it's like first generational law student. I'm like, okay, that's me too. But I also have a kid, and she did it without a child, like with tons of help, like like. And then I started thinking about it, but that don't mean it was easy for her either. Like you don't know what she went through to get there either. Like I actually went and talked to one of the girls that I thought, oh, she got it easier than me. This
Mm-hmm.
girl was caring for her grandmother the whole time she was in law school. So like, don't ever underestimate anybody in their journey just because of what you have to deal with. We all got our own battles. Everybody has their own pain, but you got to see past that to get to where you're trying to go. Because you also got to go just as hard as they're going. Because when you're taking a break and you're relaxed and you're thinking, oh, I don't have to study anymore. I'm just going to go to bed super early tonight and just wake up late, and maybe I'll go get drinks. What you are not doing, they are doing. Like your opponent, your colleague, they are doing it. Like they are doing all the things. Like, believe me, I was that person that was doing all the things. So like you can go have your fun, but when the when the
First,
grades come out, no,
me right ahead.
right. We gonna know. So yeah, just shoot all the shots, y'all. And if anybody wants to connect for extra encouragement, like definitely reach out to me. But realistically, this page got me through some crazy, crazy times. I would just go through and just watch the things. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let me get back to it now. So appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. But what I want you guys, so listen, y'all. One of the things I hope you guys also understand about this experience is you see a lawyer who looks like you, who's gone through some of the experiences you've gone through. And guess what? This is made it, y'all. And you can make it too. Understand that those challenges are just moments for you to be able to show your growth and really to show your passion and how bad you want this job. And so I think one of the most beautiful things that you said, because you said you didn't drop a lot of gems tonight, sis, is that story about the therapist. I think a lot of times we do need to be able to look back and just say, dang, hold on. How far have I come? I may not be in law school yet, but what would high school me say about what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
You over here in a courtroom. Dang. And so, you know, we're always in this process. Like, yeah, there you go.
I
And so oftentimes, I remember I saw a post where someone said, take a moment to be proud of yourself,
mm-hmm.
how far you've come, and be like, man, you know what? Today was a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Any day that I choose not to quit is a great day.
Mm-hmm.
And so listen, one of the things that's beautiful is as our tribe continues to grow, we continue to add more lawyers, more judges,
Yes.
orders out there. And so listen, fam, she said reach out to her. Don't be scared now. She done told y'all, shoot your shot. I want you guys to understand that, of course, for so many of us, when we grew up, the only lawyers that we knew were the ones that we saw on TV.
Yep.
You know, for me, it was Claire Huxtable, Maxine Shaw, and, you know, Judge Judy and things like, and Judge Hatchett.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, here go a lawyer right here. And she told you guys to reach out to her. I want you to know that we are creating a wonderful community. And Sonya, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And what I always like to do is I always like to give you guys the last word to end us out for the night.
I feel like I already said it. I'm going to say, commit to the Lord, whatever you do, and he shall establish your plans. Like, I literally included God in every step of my journey, and every part of it has been intentional. Every single step has been intentional. And there have been doors that have opened that I couldn't have opened. There have been things that he kept me from that, looking back, I'm glad he did, even though it hurt when it did. Shoot all the shots. Even if you get a no, just keep shooting. It's going to happen. It'll happen the way it's supposed to happen. But until then, you just got to find that within yourself. And yeah, I'm thankful you let me come on today. So I really had a good time. Thank you.
And you guys, thank you so much for joining us for Making the Case. Thank you, Sonya, for joining us tonight. Y'all, I have a special guest. We're going to be doing Making the Case on Sunday. The young lady made a lot of noise when she became the first Black Supreme Court clerk position at the University of Florida. Miss Dees, she's going to be joining on Sunday. So make sure you guys save the date. Miss Sonya, again, thank you. You guys, y'all better fill up her chat box. Y'all better holler at her. You are not alone in this journey. I hope you guys understand from this. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to shoot your shot. The only way sometimes you get to yes is by hearing no's. That's how our path becomes that much clearer. We complain about a school, maybe God don't want you there. And so, again, sis, thank you so much for joining us. And you guys continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. Take care. God bless and peace and blessings. Thank you, Sonya.